Nelson.
6'9". Is that what you all wanted to hear? Oh, look how big I got, everybody. Very interesting. Look how tall I am. It's good being tall, man. My only thing is like, I don't know, I'm just kind of shy, and if I go into a room with enough people, there's always going to be one dude who's just going to point at me like, yo, look at that tall guy. And then everyone looks at me, and that guy, sometimes he follows up with something weird, like we all know what they say about tall guys. So now everyone's still looking at me, but now it feels like they're imagining what my penis looks like. I gotta throw them off of that. I'm like, I only know what doctors say about tall guys. And doctors just say that we don't live as long. Yeah, I really crashed the chuckle train on that fucker. It's true too. Apparently the thing is our hearts can't keep up with all of the extra sex we're having. National tragedies. Don't feel bad for me. I'll use my mortality as a pickup line, you know? Be at the bars like, you girls looking for a little less commitment? You date a tall guy, it's like getting a hamster instead of a dog. Do comedy because I have a weird family, man. My dad was always playing pranks on us growing up, so I had to have a sense of humor. My dad's pranks were bad, though. Like, my older brother had his first loose tooth, so my dad tied a string from his loose tooth to the kitchen doorknob. So my brother and I figured, okay, he's gonna slam the door, that's gonna pull the tooth out. We focused on that door, but that was just misdirection. My dad lit a match and waved it by my brother's face, so he jumped and jerked his face away and ripped that tooth out of his mouth. Oh, what a salient childhood memory I have. Standing between my crying brother and my laughing dad. Man, pranks around here are crazy. Gotta watch out. I never got spanked one time, man. My dad wanted to spank us, but he spanked my older brother first, and my older brother just broke down. They did that little kid ugly foghorn cry, where they just hit that note and hold it like, and then they run out of breath and they think they're dying. It's fun to see, you know, but at the time, I was the younger brother, so I figured, man, this is how I look tougher than my older brother, right? I'm gonna get spanked, but I'm not gonna cry. I'm gonna look tougher. And my dad spanked me, and I didn't cry. But I did look back and smile at him. Gonna call that an overcorrection. I just overthought it, you know, I was just like, hey man, all I gotta do is not cry, and just a little voice in my head was like, why don't you look back and give him a cool, confident smile, right? Just let him know there's no tears. I thought it would look cool. I turned around at my dad like a freaky little weirdo. This seems to be the problem, officer. He just walked right into the room like, honey, we are not spanking that one again. A lot of addiction in my family, a lot of weird addictions. Yeah. Where my addiction people at? They're at a meeting, they're not here. A lot of weird addictions. When I was in high school, we found out my grandfather was addicted to Viagra. I know. No one took that news harder than Grandma, by the way. That was a fun one to get us into what actually happened. When I was in high school, my grandfather passed away, and we went to go clean out his house, and we found that he had filled a prescription for Viagra 2 days before he passed away. If I'm honest with you, I've never been more proud of a family member in my entire life. I mean, put yourself there. You got 2 days left, and you're like, oh, I got one more in me. It's just the strength of the human spirit, man. I went to his funeral, I put a blue pill over each one of his eyelids. Take that with you. Just learn about love languages. Do you guys know what love languages are? Oh, yeah, boo. That was a fun boo from you, Sarah. I feel the same way. Boo them, boo them. I didn't know what they were. My ex-girlfriend asked me what my love language was, and the fact that I said my ex-girlfriend probably gives you guys a good idea how that worked out. She asked me what mine was, and I had no idea what they were, so I was just like, French is pretty hot. Spanish is a close second. She says, no, there's 5 of them. It describes the way that you interact with a loved one in a relationship, right? There's words of affirmation, there's acts of service, there's receiving gifts, there's physical touch, and then there's one more that I forgot, but it's not important for the joke. Anyway, she said receiving gifts, and that's when I was like, I think I know who came up with this bullshit in the first place. I watched too many financial crime documentaries, man. I was like, you shitting me? One of them is receiving gifts. Get out of here. Follow the money. It lands on them. I can't imagine that arrogance you would have to sit in the living room for like an hour with your loved one and then just shut everything down. Like, you see how I just spent the last hour with you? Yeah, it's because your love language is quality time. But now I think it's my turn. And my love language, of course, is receiving gifts. I need you to open up your Amazon checkout card. Really prepared myself for your love here. My ex said mine was physical touch. She said I was a physical touch guy. I didn't say anything, but I felt like I was getting away with a lot, you know? Because the whole time I just thought I was copping a feel. Grabbing tits and ass, she's over there like, oh, what a romantic. It works out pretty well for me, man. She took it too far. She said every guy she's ever dated was also a physical touch guy. And I was like, there's no way. That's too crazy of a coincidence. I think she's just confusing dudes being horny with dudes loving her. And here's how I know. You know what no dude's ever said? Hey, baby, thank you for all the blowjobs, but could you please take my dick out of your mouth and give me a word of affirmation, please? It's never been said. It's not a real thing. I'm an organ donor. Any of you guys organ donors? I feel like that was a cheat code for me. That's a good deed. I don't do a lot of good deeds, so I'm really hoping that one carries me away. I think it will too, because I'm bigger than most people, which means my organs are bigger, and I just think that makes them more valuable. Extra credit, you know? It's like a 3-pointer right at the buzzer too. I'm just gonna slide in platinum heaven like, sorry bitches, I'm here too. I did a lot of leg work in the last couple minutes. I thought about it for too long. I started thinking I would like to choose where the organs were going. Like I would like to donate my heart to like a child that needed a heart transplant. I think that would be a noble act. And I also think it would be really funny to take a 6'9" man's heart and put that into a child. I'm not a doctor, but how powerful is that child gonna become? He's gonna get like 50 horsepower with this thing, you know? Just gonna kill it, tetherball or whatever. Other kids will be like, my dad can beat up your dad. That kid will be like, I can beat up your dad. Where's he at? It's like, full of blood and little monster. I'm not that offensive of a comedian, but sometimes you never know. I was just working a club last week, and they were like, don't be offensive. And in my head, I was like, how do I know if I'm offensive? It's the audience member, right? That's who gets offended. I've said stuff that people got worried about, like sweatshops. I made a sweatshop joke, and someone told me I can't joke about that because I don't know what it's like to be a sweatshop worker. And I sat down and I thought about it. I did the work. It turns out I don't know what it's like to be a sweatshop worker, but I have walked a lot of miles in their shoes.